Hi, this is part 2 of a video series of drawing from reference. You can find a link to part 1 in the description of this video. Hi, my name is Luis Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 20 years now. And now, without further ado, here's part 2 of drawing from reference. So again, what I look at, we see the figure being what it is here. So I am drawing the negative spaces. This negative space here is probably not correct the way I'm drawing it here. I'm trying to see how right now I'm just eyeballing the placing in the spaces before I place anything. Probably about here. Drawing the negative space here. I'm going to indicate that maybe the negative space for his arms are about right here somewhere. The negative space for his legs are about-ish here, but I'm not sure yet. There still needs to be a lot of measuring left. Notice I am not drawing any real details. I am just drawing this graphic representation of what he is. I am not constructing anything yet. This is very off. Do you see how this area here, how thick it is? And where I have placed my area is really thin. So I want it to be as thick as this. So it's probably here instead. This leg, if I was to put down a pendulum line all the way down, oops. Comes out a little further than the head. That's what I mean by measuring. What is this shape here? Notice that my shoulder is coming out much further than it ought. So, for example, if this was his chin, this area here, and this is the corner of his shoulder, look at the space here. It's off. That's where it should be. It's about right there. Which means that my arm is off. So I adjust. That having been said, I still haven't solidified for myself this completely to my satisfaction. He's got a big mass of hair. Again, a negative space. I'm trying to see how that works out, if it's working out or not. This will probably pop out more. This arm will get thicker. I'm trying to see, eyeball about how wide that is. Where does this fall? It's right under here. We've got this part. So there's something very off because I'm measuring, I'm comparing spaces between areas here. Where is this compared to this? If I was to draw a diagonal, this is where his knee would probably be, somewhere around here, which means that this is much higher up. I'm trying to find something that I could, some kind of landmark I could compare this to, so that I could get an accurate placement of his leg. I'm also looking to see if there's a rhythmical connection to help guide me in placing these things. Okay, so far this is what I've got. I don't know how accurate it is, but I've been measuring a lot. But this is critical. Having, if you're going to use reference and you want your subject to look like the reference, then you've got to use it to your advantage. You've got to measure as much as possible. Otherwise, there's no point. Especially if you want to capture exactly what you see as well as you see it, so that you can pull off something that looks naturalistic. So this is a very basic, simple lay-in that I'm doing. Trying to place the landmarks where they ought to be. It's crucial that you get everything in place, and it shouldn't necessarily look, it doesn't have to look organic at first, because it's more important for you to get all the things in the right spot. Okay, so once I think I've got a subject worked out, placed correctly, this is when I go in and I start solidifying it a little bit more. When using reference, it depends on what what I want. If I want something to look a little bit more cartoony or pushed, I'm not going to be as accurate. I'm going to use it as a guide to my cartoon. If I'm going to try to do something much more naturalistic, use the reference as a solid foundation to make a representational drawing, something that looks much more representational, much more human, much more realistic. Then I follow it much, much closer. In fact, I try to copy it almost exactly, unless the lighting is not working the way I want, and other things. I try to just do exactly the same thing that I see. I'll talk a little bit. I'll probably make another video just about how to use reference in a way that you can just Frankenstein a bunch of different references and then use that as a guide to do a final piece. But if you're going to use something straight from the reference, this is the way that I would go about doing it. I would just do this first. Once I've got all the pieces in place around the general area that I want them to be, this is when I start breaking things up even more. I start solidifying things. I start refining, making adjustments, making sure that all the measuring is going correctly. So let me continue with this drawing and then I'll show you what else I do. If you found this video valuable, I would like to encourage you to return value for value by becoming one of my patrons over on Patreon. Not only will you encourage me to continue making informative videos that are useful to you, but you get extra perks too. For only a small investment of $1 a month, you can get all new videos I create months before anyone else gets to see it. Also, if you have any questions you'd like me to answer as a patron, you get priority and I answer your questions first. On top of that, when you're a patron at any level, you become part of a raffle where I send original art via mail to the winner of that month. The higher your tier, the better your opportunity to win. Higher tier patrons also get access to any art I do in high-res JPEGs and also full access to PSD files to any work I do, including the PSD files of these videos. Currently, there's a huge backlog of downloadable files you can get, so right away you're going to get quite a lot of bang for your buck. And the more patrons I get, the better these videos will get. The more content I can produce. In other words, the more you benefit. Please consider becoming a patron. Thanks. The link to my Patreon is on the screen and in the description of this video.